Hello, health lovers. It's your cute nurse student, Nurse V. And today on Health episode, we are going to be talking about the male reproductive system. So, what is the male reproductive system? Remember that system are groups of organs. So, male reproductive system are groups of organs that work together to produce, store, and also deliver sperm, as well as the production of testosterone. I'll take it again. The male reproductive system are group of organs that helps in the production, storage, and also transportation of sperm, as well as the production of testosterone. What are these organs that make up the male reproductive system? So we have the two ejaculatory ducts, we have the seminal vesicle, we have the testis, we have the epididymis, we have the vas deferens, we have the corpus gland, we have one penis, and we have one prostate gland. Now let's talk about the scrotum. So the scrotum is a dark pigmented skin that lies below the pelvic cavity, so it protrudes out of the body. So it contains the testis and the epididymis. The testis is equivalent to the ovaries in female because the testis produce and secrete testosterone. They also produce sperm. So now let's talk about the gross structure of the testis. So the testis is made up of three layers. We have the tunica albuginea, we have the tunica vaginalis, and we have the tunica vasculosa. So the tunica vaginalis is a double two membrane that covers the testis. Now we have the tunica albuginea. It lies below the tunica vaginalis and it also encloses the testis. Now the last layer is the tunica vasculosa. Now when you hear something is vascular, it means blood supply. So tunica vasculosa contains network of capillaries that supplies blood to the testis. Now moving forward, we talk about the microscopic structure of the testis. Now the testis is composed of about 200 to 300 lobes. 200 to 300 lobes, and inside that lobes you can see there are convoluted lobes. So we have about 1 to 4 convoluted lobes in each of the lobes. Now these convoluted lobes is called the semiferous tubules, and this is where the production of sperm takes place. Now sperm is produced in the semiferous tubules and they migrate, they are being produced by the spermatogonia, which is the primitive predominal cell found in the semiferous tubule. Now in between the semiferous tubule are interstitial cells, and these interstitial cells are called the Leydig cells. The Leydig cells is responsible for the production of testosterone, that is the primary male androgen. Now we talk about the blood supply to the testis. We have the testicular arteries supplies blood to the testis, and we have the testicular vein which drains blood from the testis. Now we are going to be talking about the spermatic cord. Now the spermatic cord suspends the testis inside the scrotum, so it holds the testis in the scrotum, and it is composed of the testicular arteries, it's composed of the testicular vein, we have the nerves and the lymphatics. Now let's talk about the epididymis. Now the epididymis lies at the upper pole of each of the testes, and they are divided into three parts. We have the head, which is the caput, we have the body, which is the corpus, and we have the tail, which is the cauda. Now let's talk about the head of the epididymis. Now the head of the epididymis, which is the caput, receives immature sperm cells that are being produced by the semiferous tubules. And we talk about the body of the epididymis, which is the corpus. Now the body is the site where this immature sperm gains motility. It becomes matured in the body. Now we talk about the tail. The tail of the epididymis. Now the tail of the epididymis is where the matured sperm cells are being stored. So if you want to talk about functions of this epididymis, it helps to store sperm. It's a site where sperm gains its motility, and it helps in the maturation of sperm. Now moving forward, we are going to be talking about the vas deferens, or we say the deferent dot. Now the deferent dot extends from the epididymis and cuts across. It goes across the bladder to the level of the seminal vesicle. So what it does is that during ejaculation, it acts as a transportation system where the sperm travels from the epididymis, then it travels there and gets to the level of the seminal vesicle. Now at the level of the seminal vesicle, it merges together to form what we have, the ejaculatory duct. Now let's talk about the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle is a connective tissue that lies behind the bladder. So the main work of this seminal vesicle is to secrete alkalinic substance into the sperm to help the sperm to swim faster. So it constitutes about 60% of the sperm. So what it secretes constitutes about 60% of the sperm, and it secretes mainly fructose to the sperm. Now from the seminal vesicle, we talk about the ejaculatory duct. Now sperm moves from the epididymis to the vas deferens, and then to the ejaculatory duct. Now, after this substance are being secreted by the seminal vesicle, the sperm then enters the ejaculatory duct. Now, the ejaculatory duct begins from the seminal vesicle and pass to the prostate gland, and where you have the prostatic urethra. Now, we also have accessory organs for the male reproductive system. One of them, which I said, is the seminal vesicle. Now we have the prostate gland. Now the prostate gland is responsible for the secretion of those whitish substance in sperm. So the color of sperm is white, and it is as a result of the prostate gland. Now, below the prostate gland, we have what they call the Copper's gland. Now, this Copper's gland plays a very vital role during ejaculation. So before ejaculation, it secretes semen. Now, semen is kind of clear and watery, so it secretes semen to wash out the urethra in case of any remnant of urine or any bacteria. Also, it washes it out. So once the semen is being secreted, the next thing that follows is the sperm. Now we talk about the penis. Now the penis has a root and a body. Now the body is otherwise known as the shaft, while the root is embedded into the perineum. Now let's talk about the body. Now the body is composed of 3 cylindrical masses of connective tissues and smooth muscles. Now these 3 cylindrical masses, we have 2 corpus cavernosa and we have 1 corpus spongiosum that surrounds the urethra. So now at the tip of the penis is a triangular area, and this triangular area is called the glans penis. Now moving forward, we want to talk about the movement of sperm, how sperm is being passed. Where does it pass from? So sperm is produced from the testis, remember, then it gets to the epididymis, it gains maturity, and then is transported through the vas deferens. It passes the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle secretes substance into it. Then it also goes through the prostate gland. Then through the prostate gland, we have the prostatic urethra. It passes the prostatic urethra, it passes through the membranous urethra, and it goes out of the body through the pineal urethra. So that is all about the male reproductive system. So in addition, I want to also talk about ejaculation. Now ejaculation is the release of sperm from the male reproductive system through the penis or through the urethra, and is being done usually during coitus. So what are the phases in ejaculation? So we have the emission phase and we have the expulsion phase. Now in the emission phase, we have different things that triggers the emission phase. So one of it is attraction. If you're attracted to a lady, there are some men that when they're attracted to a lady, they end up ejaculating. So if you're attracted to a lady or during sexual acts, it sends a signal to the brain. And which part of the brain is the hypothalamus? Now what the hypothalamus does is that it secretes gonadotrophin releasing hormone that acts on the anterior pituitary gland, that is the adrenohypophysis. Now when it acts on the anterior pituitary gland, it's going to secrete an hormone called the luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone then acts on the testis, and when it acts on the testis, it causes the release of the testosterone. Now testosterone sends a signal to the seminal vesicle, to the epididymis, and this causes the release or the escape of sperm from the epididymis. Now the sperm travels through the vas deferens, and when it gets to the prostatic urethra, that is where the emission phase ends. Now we talk about the expulsion phase. Now this is a phase where the man is about to have orgasm. The man is aware that he is about to ejaculate. That's why some men will be like, oh, I'm coming. That is the expulsion phase, and it happens when that emission phase ended at the prostatic urethra, and that prostatic urethra, it's at the perineum, it's at the root of the penis. So now the man feels it, and what happens is that rhythmic contraction takes place. It begins contracting, and that is when he's shivering. And once it's contracting, it forces the sperm through the 3 parts of the urethra, and it comes out. And once the man ejaculates, it sends a signal to the brain, and when it sends this signal to the brain then releases dopamine and endorphins. Now dopamine and endorphins is kind of a relaxing feel-good hormone. We call dopamine a feel-good hormone, and that is when the man feels so good, and at some point the man then sleeps because he feels good. It as a result of the dopamine and the endorphins. Endorphins is a happy hormone. It feels happy. Wow, I've ejaculated. Then dopamine is a feel good hormone. It feels so good, and it also makes the man to sleep after ejaculation. So this is all for the male reproductive system. Okay, before I call it a wrap, let's talk about the andropause. So the andropause is a stage where the luteinizing hormone in the male decreases, and it's just similar to menopause. It's just that menopause has to do with the cessation, the natural cessation of menstruation, while this one does not cease completely, but it decreases. And you know that when luteinizing hormone decreases, then the sexual life of the man and everything also drops. It does not drop completely, but it drops, it slacks, everything slacks. So it happens in men from age 45 to age 55, within that range or up. So that's all for the male reproductive system. Thank you very much for watching. Do well to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be talking about embryogenesis, that is the formation of an embryo, how the baby is being formed. So I'll talk about it in my next video. Do well to share to all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.